Today we're going to be doing a Dragy race between my car, the Stage 2 BMW M135i, and my friend Steve's Stage 2 BMW M2. Now the main two differences with these two cars is that's got a manual gearbox with an LSD, and my car has got an 8-speed ZF gearbox with no LSD. So it's going to be an interesting video.
What they say, need a blue face, I've been caring about a race. I've been trying to eat, I need more than just a taste. Now they trying to talk, oh no, they should know their place. Man, I'm ballin', this ain't cap, baby, now I feel like calling. From the O, but I got the music poppin'. All the time, man, it started get obnoxious. Now I gotta drive, yeah, I'm feeling nauseous. Gotta drive top down, then I hop out, I've been feeling hot now. Feeling like the man, I'm my own boss now. Telling all my exes, now they getting crossed out. I've been on the west side, cause it's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today. Popping on the west side, cause it's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case.
Before we get into this video, let me just quickly talk about how good looking that M2 is. They're just such good looking cars. They've got wide arches front and rear. I know I talk about wide arches all the time. The colour, what a nice colour that is. Even the back end, just everywhere you look, every angle you look at this car, Steve's put loads of bits of carbon on it as well. It's just such a good looking car. I really like it. And interior wise, both cars are very similar. If I show you inside here, that one does have the nice steering wheel. Mine currently still has the ugly steering wheel, which everyone complains about. But yeah, first impressions on that M2, such a good looking thing. Oh my god, them trees look like they're gonna bloody fall over. Squash his car though, trees, yeah, don't squash my one please, because yeah, don't want that to happen. But let's talk about the specs of both cars. So they're both running the same intercooler, and they're both ironically running the same M Performance sports exhaust system. The main difference between both of our exhausts, though, mine's got a D-cat and Steve's has got a sports cat. That might affect them slightly. Both running the same N55 engine with single turbo, and they're both supposedly running at around, god, this wind is a nightmare, at around 430 to 440 bhp. Neither car has got a dyno, but they are quoted figures by the tuners themselves, so they should be quite accurate. But I hate quoting exact dyno times without having a dyno report. We're all the same, we can't quote exactly, but they're running very, very similar setups. Like I said earlier, the LSD is going to help that car massively off the mark, whereas mine's got an open diff, so off the mark it's not too grippy. Manual gearbox, that's going to give it a bit of a delay. My car, as on the plus side, has got the ZF gearbox, so it's got nice quick gear changes. What we're going to do today is we're going to be doing a test, 3 different tests. We're going to be doing 0 to 60, we're going to be doing 30 to 70, and then we're going to be doing an 1/8 of a mile. These are all real world driving tests because they're real world cars. They're tests that you're going to want to do on the road if you owned any one of these two cars, okay? First car we're going to get out in is my M135i. Right, this is it then. Sport Plus. Traction control is completely off. This car does have launch control as well, and we're just going to put the gearbox into the sports mode. Tyres, let's talk about tyres quickly. This is running 255 35 18s. The M2 is running 265 35 19, so the M2 is running slightly wider and bigger tyres. Both running Michelins. I think that's running Super Sport, and this is running Pilot Sport 4. So traction, who's got the traction gain? I don't know. Let's stop messing around anyway, let's get on with it. So the usual plan that we always do is we're going to do multiple runs in both cars. I'll only show you one of the runs on cam, and at the end of the runs on each car I'll come back and quote the quickest times that I've got, 0 to 60, 30 to 70 and 1/8 of a mile on both cars. All right, let's do the M135i. Oh, one thing that I forgot to say actually is the app we're going to be using is quite obvious, is Dragy. Okay, this is a Dragy race. The app is Dragy, so it's going to be perfectly recorded times by this app, all right? So let's stop messing around and let's do a launch in the M135i. Straight away, we've just lit up. Do you know what, I'm having a nightmare straight away with traction, and the roads are bone dry as well. I can't believe this. Let's try again. Right, that felt quick, felt bloody quick. Bit of wheel spin in second gear, but I reckon that done pretty well. Right, M135i results. Now, just quickly before I'll give you the results, the launch was a bit too harsh. It was just putting the wheels into a spin, and so I didn't really bother too much with launch. I've done 4 runs in total. I've got the best results here from all 4 runs. Also, I would say room for improvement would definitely be in the diff. Like obviously I mentioned that at the beginning of the video. The diff is definitely, we're losing power through the diff, 100%. Secondly, the map, there seems to be a lot of low end lag in this car, which I didn't really notice. Like day-to-day driving, you don't really notice it, but when you're trying to do draggy times, it did notice quite badly. So yeah, anyway, the times. So I'm quite impressed with the times. I think the M2 is going to have a bit of a battle trying to keep up with it, but we'll see. 0-60, 4.44 seconds. That's a bloody good time. 30-70, 3.61 seconds. And then 1/8 of a mile, it done it in 8.43 seconds. So they're pretty good times. The M2 is going to have a bit of a battle trying to keep up with that, but we'll see. So let's get out in the M2. This car feels so much more on point and more firm and solid than the M135i. It's a little bit annoying if I'm honest. But the rev matches, as you drop the gears it rev matches. That's a clever little touch. And just the overall feel of this car is a better car. Even the sound, although the exhausts are supposedly a similar type of exhaust, this sounds so much better. It's got a deeper roar to it. So let's see how quickly it does with draggy times. So we're in Sport Plus. Might be a bit of a nightmare in Sport Plus, but we'll see how we get on. Traction control, press and hold that to turn it fully off. Is that off? Is that right? It's going to be a bit of a handful, I think. 3, 2, 1. Back end is lively. There's no way I'm doing it quicker than that. Right, back to where I started, and I've got the results now. So the M2, I done 6 runs in the M2 because I had a bit of a nightmare putting traction down, and every run I've done I thought, no, I can beat that. So I've done 6 runs in total, and what have I got to report in this car? Great car, absolutely great car. The overall driving feel of this car was phenomenal. 0-60 on the M2. So let's get the M135i times back up again. 0-60 on the M135i was 4.44 seconds. 0-60 on the M2 was, oh no, hold on, let me, before I give you this result, let me just explain something else quickly. Before I went out in the M2, I went for a drive to get it warm, and it did rain a tiny bit, which made the drama of putting the power down a bit more of a nightmare. I want to say tiny, it's a little bit, but it would have probably had an effect on the dampness of the road, all right? So consider that. 0-60 in the M2 was 5.11 seconds. So it was just over half a second slower to 60 than the M135i. 30 to 70 to the M135i done it in 3.61 seconds. The M2 done it in 4.12 seconds, and then the 1/8 of a mile time, which is quite interesting really. The 1/8 of a mile time, M135i done it in 8.43 seconds, and the M2 done it in 8.79 seconds. So it's almost as if the M135i begun catching it near or higher on in the speed. And if there had been a finish line, they would have almost crossed that finish line at exactly the same time. So interesting race. One thing I'd say about the M2 is what a great car. Like the manual gearbox, I love the fact that it's got a manual gearbox, and statistically BMW quote I think a 0.2 or a 0.3 second time difference between the manual and the DCT, so that's something worth knowing. The DCT is obviously a quicker gearbox, and I think in real world times you probably cost you sort of 0.4, maybe as much as half a second 60 by having a manual as well. So had this had the automatic version of the gearbox, it might have been a closer race. Something else the M135i's got as an advantage over the M2 is the weight. It's a lighter car, and then obviously the diff on this car, it did feel like it felt a lot more on point as you drive it. When you accelerate, generally just general driving, it just feels a lot more on point, this diff. So interesting race. Maybe it was a pointless one, like I said at the beginning of the video. Is it a pointless race? I don't know. It was something I thought was quite interesting. I'm obviously over the moon that my M135i is quicker than the M2. If you want to see how both cars fell on my own CCD Dragy leaderboard, give me a follow on Instagram at Calvin's Car Diary, and I'll get that posted on my story, and I'll even get it posted as a highlight on my main Instagram as well. So you can go and check that out and see where all of the cars that I've done Dragy times on fall on that leaderboard, alright? I'm going to end it here. I'm wearing my friend Darren's clothing brand here, ATW Clothing. I'll put a link for that in the description below. Have I missed anything? Have I gained anything? If Dragy have by this point somehow managed to give me a promo code, which they should bloody give me a promo code because I use their box all the time, and if they do, I'll put that in the description below. And that's everything. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did like the video, hit like. If you're new to my channel, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. In the next episode of Diary of a Car Trader, I finally get my hands on a Fiesta ST.